are they protectionist? Joining us now, we have Ben Ferguson, syndicated host at Icon Radio Network, and sitting right here with me in Washington, Greg Valliere, chief political strategist at Potomac Research and a CNBC contributor. Ben, start you right off. Is Mr. Obama changing his stripes? Is he becoming pro-free trade, or is he still protectionist?
No, he's pro-midterm elections, not getting his brains beat in with all the Democrats out there, and he knows right now he's got to do some on free trade. Look at Colombia. It's been sitting there, that trade agreement, since '07 with Democrats saying no. Now Hoyer comes out and says, well, we might pass it, but when? Next year. We've already lost 33% of our imports of wheat and corn to Colombia, while I mean, how many countries, including Canada, have already signed deals with him? So this is him saying, I got to play some catch-up to let people know I might go somewhere with this.
And to Ben's point about Colombia, Greg, I don't get it, because essentially the unions would actually stand to gain on this agreement, because right now, as it stands, any goods coming in from Colombia don't get tariffs put on them into our country. However, when it goes the other way, our goods going into Colombia, there are tariffs, and this would actually get rid of those tariffs. What's holding things up on this?
Politics. This whole thing is enough to make a boy a cynic. This is a nice photo op. Obama's had a really tough week in terms of relations with business. More and more stories about how business leaders don't like his administration. So it's a nice photo op, but I would like action rather than words. But the actions aren't anywhere to be found, whether it's Colombia, South Korea, Panama. All these trade deals have totally stalled.
Greg Valliere, let me just go to you. Hang on one second, Ben. Politics. Go behind that word politics. You mean unions.
Sure.
You mean unions.
Sure.
Now, I want to ask you, in the Democratic Party, it's union-driven. But the Republicans are kind of squishy on this, too. What's your take on that?
Some are, but I think that Republicans could be persuaded to go along, as many did for Bill Clinton's NAFTA.
But one of Clinton's best moments.
I agree.
Best moments.
And, you know, after the congressional election, you might see this president basically reduced to small ball, like Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton got NAFTA. He got welfare reform. He didn't get anything big because he didn't have the numbers.
Welfare reform and NAFTA was big. See, Ben, we're having a Clinton lovin' down here in Washington. What do you make of that, my friend?
Well, look, the fact of the matter is this president's trying to figure out how to get business leaders off of him and his candidates for the midterms. He's not going to push for trade. He's never been a trade guy, and we know this. If there's one thing everybody should agree on is that this president is in bed with unions and always will be and always has been. So you know what? Everything they're talking about, including Panama right now, including Panama, is going to happen next year after the midterms.
I guess unions just get nervous when they hear the word free trade, Ben, because really, if you look at the agreement, for example, with Colombia, it would actually benefit all parties. That said, Ben, what's it going to take for this president to come around to really be more free trade oriented? Is it going to take a drastic upset come midterm elections?
Look, if you have business leaders that are coming after him now like they are, you're looking at money, and he's looking at, hey, who's going to get me money to run for re-election? And I think that's the reason why he has to move a little bit on this, is to say, look, I still need your support, and I'm losing a lot of other people's support, so I got to at least have you in my camp. And I think there's people that aren't exactly conservative, that are leaders, even in business communities, are saying, look, some of our stuff has got to be sent overseas and out of this country, and you're not helping at all.
Hey, Trey, I've got to disagree just slightly. You talk to a lot of union people in this town. They don't like him at all. They don't like him on the public option, which he didn't fight for. Teachers' unions, the teachers' unions don't like him. The left wing doesn't like him on Afghanistan.
He hasn't pushed for card check lately. He hasn't pushed for card check.
And Larry is absolutely right. Card check, which is the #1 issue for the unions, the White House is basically taking a pass on.
So to make it even harder, now the big businesses, the Business Roundtable says, we're for free trade, but make us more competitive with lower corporate tax rates. Now, how's that going to play in this Congress?
I don't think it will. You know that, Larry.
I'm just testing the waters here. Hey, Ben, what do you think about lower corporate tax rates make America competitive? We are now the highest as Japan cuts its tax rate.
I love it, but this is where the president's not going to do that, because remember, he ran on the big evil rich people are not paying their fair share, and everybody said absolutely.
You know, it hasn't gotten him very far, Ben, and you look at the economy today, and it's in pretty bad shape. Do you think there's any chance, any small bit of possibility that after these midterm elections, he might start to change his tune and come more to center? I mean, look at what happened with President Clinton.
You know, this president has been consistent on one issue, saying he's doing a lot and not doing enough. Look at the oil spill right now. Look at how he promised Russia last week that he's going to get them in the World Trade Organization. I mean, that's a pretty big push right there from a president that I don't think can do it. So, I mean, the problem is he promised so much to the left, he can't deliver. Now he's got people in the middle that I don't think he can deliver to either, because he's got his people that voted for him both fighting with each other, and that's the recipe for disaster.
He might be able to deliver. I've got to watch Brother Kudlow tonight with Tim Geithner. I think it's going to be an interesting interview, because will this administration look at some new tax options? Right. Will they extend the Bush tax cuts for most everyone? I think the answer is yes.
Well, hey, nothing else worked, right, Greg? Might as well try a few new things.
Why not? Yep.
Hey, I think this president's going to promise some new things, but after the midterms, let's see if he actually does it.
He won't have the numbers to do a lot more activists.
There are fewer rich people nowadays. Yes. That's what I hear. There are fewer rich people.
I'm one of the fewer, yes.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. You guys are both great. Ms. Ferguson, Mr. Valliere, fabulous stuff.
When we come back.